You know that feeling when a show ends, but it doesn't really feel over? That's exactly what happened with Downton Abbey. Fans were promised a grand farewell, an emotional, final chapter that would close the book once and for all. But if you've actually seen the so-called finale, you know the truth. This wasn't a goodbye, it was a handoff. After more than a decade of storytelling, it's almost impossible to imagine a world without the Crawleys. Yet, here we are, Downton Abbey. The grand finale arrived, promising closure. But like any beloved TV universe, the end doesn't always mean the end. Because when a story hits this deep, fans and studios can't help but ask, what's next? The film, released on September 12th, was marketed as the ultimate send-off, a sweeping emotional bow tying every storyline together. Elizabeth McGovern, who plays Cora Crawley, even said this was her final chapter. She suggested that if Downton ever returned, it could only happen through a prequel, exploring younger versions of the characters we've grown to love. And honestly, that idea kind of makes sense. With Maggie Smith's legendary Dowager Countess now gone, imagine a whole new series exploring young Violet Crawley, how she became the sharp, witty, and fearless matriarch we know today. That's a story begging to be told. The finale wasn't just emotional for fans, it was emotional for the cast too. Michelle Dockery, who plays Lady Mary, called it a beautiful tribute to Maggie Smith. So when you watch the movie, it feels like saying goodbye not just to fictional characters, but to a real family of actors who've grown together for 15 years. But here's the thing. Every scene that felt like closure also felt like setup. Lady Mary steps fully into leadership at Downton, taking the reins after her father steps back. She's divorced, she's defied tradition, and she's redefining what it means to be a woman in power in that era. That's not a wrap-up, that's a new beginning. Because now, Downton Abbey has the perfect setup for a new generation. Mary's children growing up, Edith and Herbert still involved, and younger characters like Daisy stepping into leadership roles. And that haunting, dreamlike scene where Mary sees the ghosts of Matthew, Sybil, and Violet. It's not just nostalgia. It's a reminder that the past never truly disappears. It lingers. It influences what comes next. Even beyond the symbolism, the finale plants so many story seeds. Mary's messy divorce has society turning its back on her. Her Uncle Harold's financial crisis threatens the family estate. And then, there's Gus, the charming con artist whose betrayal sparks new tension. These aren't endings. They're cliffhangers. Downton Abbey might have closed its doors, but the cracks in its walls say otherwise. Meanwhile, Isabel and Daisy's storyline about the town fair wasn't just filler, it was a statement. It showed that the younger generation, people like Daisy who once worked as a maid, are now stepping up and shaping a new future. That's Downton evolving, not ending. And think about this. Mary's children, George and Caroline, are coming of age. Anna's unborn baby has Mary as godmother. That's literally a new generation being born before our eyes, one that could carry the Crawley story forward in completely new directions. Behind the scenes, even producer Gareth Neame hinted that he might not be done. And honestly, how could he be? Downton Abbey has been a global hit. 6 seasons, specials, and now 3 films. As long as fans still care, there's no reason to shut the gates for good. A prequel about young Violet? Perfect. A season 7 exploring Mary's leadership and the next generation? Also perfect. Or maybe both, running side by side, one exploring the roots of the Crawleys, the other showing their legacy continue. When you strip it all down, the grand finale wasn't about saying goodbye. It was about reflection, honoring the past while quietly setting up the future. Mary standing alone in that grand hall symbolizes both loss and renewal. The ghosts from her past remind us that family stories never die. They transform, they grow, they get passed on. And that's the magic of Downton Abbey. So, was this really the end? Not even close. Whether it's a reboot, a prequel, or a brand new chapter, one thing's certain. Downton Abbey still has plenty of stories left to tell. If you loved this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories from the worlds we can't let go of. Because around here, endings are just new beginnings in disguise.